Richard, you state that there is no person, there is no past and future. Could you say that there is and isn't? Could you say that there is and isn't, or just categorically that there isn't? Because some speakers and some people say there is and isn't equally.
Yeah, I'd say there rather obviously is and isn't.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd say it's kind of pretty obvious that there. I mean, it's not obvious that there isn't, but if it's seen that there isn't, it's pretty obvious that there also is, in a way. Does that sound confusing? Yeah, I expect it does. So, you could say, metaphor. You could say probably the commonest metaphor, but it's not like, it's pretty obvious that whatever the hell this is, and we don't know what this is, but whatever the hell it is, it doesn't stop on awakening. Unless awakening coincides with physical death, in which case all bets are off anyway, and I have nothing to say about that, and nobody has anything sensible to say about that. So if physical death doesn't occur and awakening occurs, whatever the hell this is goes on. Let's call it a dream, if we want to. Or let's call it, I don't like the word particularly, but let's call it an illusion, if we like. So we could say that the dream is seen through. It doesn't stop as long as this apparent, again, whatever the hell this is, nobody knows. But whatever the hell it is, as long as it continues, then this waking dream continues. Except in sleep, in which case in sleep dream may continue. There's always something happening. There's always something happening except in dream and sleep. So let's say that this is real and it's unreal.
Thanks.
I was going to say, does that cover it?
Yeah, pretty comprehensively. But you state that there is no person.
Yeah.
And speakers, I've heard other speakers say that there is no person, but then they attach that there is and there isn't, and then that's obvious. But I think I understand what you're pointing to.
Well, what there is, I mean, what we normally, if you like, call a person, there's this whole bundle of phenomena, this whole bundle of experiences, but one of those experiences seems to be central to all the others, because it's like all the other experiences seem to be happening to this one experience, we could say. So we could say, well, that's kind of conventionally what it feels like to be a person. So we're just talking here about the kind of dropping of that, falling away of that. The experience, if you like, the experience that stops is the experience that all the other experiences are happening for a person. And the recognition, if you like, I'm sure you've heard so many speakers say this, the recognition that sound just happens, looking just happens, touch, sensation just happens. So we're just talking at the end of the I'm hesitating because I don't want to use the word illusion, but I will because no other word is coming. It's just the end of the illusion that hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, feeling, walking, waving arms about. It's just the end of the illusion that all of that is happening for someone. That's all. That's all we're talking about in a way.
But that somebody can also appear to appear.
Can you say that again?
That someone that you said seems to, you said things stop happening for a sense of someone. That sense of someone can also appear in this. Yeah.
I mean, it's usually at this point in this kind of conversation that sort of happens quite a lot. It's an interesting It's usually at this point that I kind of quote Leo Harting's, the title of Leo Harting's book, Awakening to the Dream. He talks about awakening to the dream, not awakening from the dream. It's not like the dream, it's not like this dream stops when we awaken. This dream stops when physical death occurs. Maybe. Or does it? We don't know. Nobody knows. All bets are off. All bets are off with that. But nevertheless, kind of going along with that just as a kind of trying to explain what Leo means by the title of his book. This is not awakening from the dream of whatever the hell this is. It's awakening to the fact that it is a dream. And the obvious analogy or metaphor that people then kind of use to go on from that is it's a little bit, if you like, comparable to lucid dreaming, to the difference between a normal nighttime dream and lucid dreaming. Because in a lucid dream, the one who appears to be having the dream wakes up to the fact that it is a dream. They don't wake up out of the dream, they wake up to the fact that it is a dream.
Who wakes up? Sorry.
No one wakes up. Sorry, we've reached the limits of language. Sorry. No one wakes up. I said the one who's having the dream because that's how language works.
Yeah.
That's all. So there's no one lost in a dream, not recognising that it's a dream, and then there's no one and the recognition that it's a dream. Oh God, this is getting hideously abstract. But does it make sense
yes,
in some way? Yeah. I was looking at that look on your face and I was thinking, oh God, no, this has made no sense at all.
Because sometimes you say there's awakening to the dream, but sometimes it seems there's a sense of a person in the dream, and then there's awakening to the dream in which the person seems to appear, but that seems kind of convoluted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say you've lost me there.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think with all of these descriptions, they're all they're hopeless. They're absolutely hopeless. They're all just hopeless attempts to describe the utterly indescribable, and there'll be something in this or in that that either relates to that particular description or doesn't, and it doesn't matter. I mean, this is the mind trying to understand this, trying to get a handle on it and so forth, which is, completely natural. It has no importance. I mean, this can be seen with no understanding whatsoever, or there can be immense understanding and no seeing whatsoever.
The idea of no time as well can be, that everything is a story can be really quite detrimental to the seeker, because suddenly there's a lot of people who tend to minimize their experiences and their feelings, and suddenly this gives them even more reason to dismiss their feeling, so it can make them even more dismissive of themselves and more ill. It's not good in a way, because a lot of people have to realise that the importance of what they feel and what they have felt and their experience, because to be fully human you've got to be in touch with all of it, so yeah, it can have a negative impact, that stuff as well. And I think you can absorb the conditioning of that without even realising it. Even after awakening, you can be like, just carry on dismissing, or I think so it is really good to integrate your understanding to to make sure you just divest yourself of everything everybody else has ever said, and just really, you know, own all of it if you want to, you know, your whole entire experience and the beauty of your individual life, because it is just this unique story, and that's what we're all about. We're story makers, and it's precious. What we've got is really, really precious, and all our learning comes from our history. If you want to know if something's true, you know, you relate it to what you've been through. That's how you know. When you read a book about psychology, you think about what you've been through, and you're like, ah, that resonates, or not. You know, so there's so much richness in it as well. And it is personal. The experience of life, obviously, your intimate thoughts, your intimate feelings, your loves, all the rest of it. Hates. Yeah. And for some of us, there's still work to be done. You know, like if you've no boundaries, this stuff can blow your boundaries apart even more. You know, because you're just so open. So it can create other problems too for some people.
What kind of problem?
Well, if you're not, you know, if you're very kind of codependent, you know, kind of people pleaser, and you find it really difficult to say no, and you haven't looked at that, then you may just continue after awakening and be like that, and not really able to change your life. Because the awakening itself is a gift to changing your life as well, in alignment with how you've changed. You know, your heart's open and everything, and you're in touch with your vulnerability. But you may still be in relationships and still be doing stuff like, I don't know, a job or whatever that's actually really not good for you, and because you're not really getting in touch with how you feel, and you know, and the ability to say no. Because some people aren't even in touch with their desires. They don't even know that they want to say no. Like that's, or know what they want, because you could wake up and still be, you could be quite dissociated and wake up and have to really get in touch with, oh, hold on, there's anger. You know, some people you don't even experience anger really at all, because it's so unconscious or so suppressed. Have to get in touch with that, you know, because that's, getting in touch with anger is getting in touch with almost like your courage to go forward, to make changes, and to feel entitled enough to say no, for some people.
I've heard you say, I think both of you at some point mentioned self-thought, and like we were speaking about this in the break. Would you say when you think because I don't have a voice in my head. I'm one of those people who don't have a voice, so I can't think.
At all?
No. I only found out this was a thing a few months ago, that some people have a voice in their head. I don't have that. So is that something you think is learned? Is it something you try and get rid of, or is it something that you enjoy? Is it really there? Is it your voice? Is it not really there? Is it like, I can't get the concept. And a few times you've said in self-thought, and I'm like, what is that? I've got to voice it.
You've never had that?
No.
I mean,
wow.
You don't have thoughts?
I've got a voice, so if a pigeon flies past, I've got to say pigeon. It's not. I don't understand the concept of having a thought.
So there isn't a flow of thoughts, a
No.
thought stream as it's sometimes.
No, there's a memory. If I'm doing work and I've got to remember something, I can write it down. But there's no. I'm trying now to think, as people say, and I can't imagine what you mean by it.
You've never come into identification then? I don't think.
I really don't think.
You haven't? It doesn't sound like it, because that's what you're. You know, most kids are seduced into that. You know, and you know through language, this is who you are, did it, whatever. But you haven't. So it's like you've always been awake then.
I don't. But that worries me.
Why?
Why?
Because I don't. Because
you're rare. It's a gift, like, that's good.
People put enormous amounts of energy, time, passion, and often a great deal of money in trying to get to where it sounds like that is.
I just think to be able to think must be a gift rather than trying to not have that. Like if I sit in silence, it's silence. That's probably why I talk too much, sorry. Like, because I've got to get it out, because otherwise I can't think it. And yet I hear a lot that people try and get rid of that thought, to be still. And that's not that interesting.
But the mind has a negativity bias, so a lot of thought for the average individual is just ruminative, negative thinking.
See, that just comes out for me, I think. If something doesn't feel right, I'll say it rather than think it, maybe.
Right.
I'm confusing things.
Have you ever come across any speaker? Because like Gary Weber, absolutely no thought.
I didn't know it was a thing until a few months ago when I was starting a new course at university. We had to do a psycho-evaluation, and he wrote in my notes, non-thinker, and I was like, is that a positive? And I asked my lecturer, and yeah, I think we spoke about it briefly before, that I just don't have thought. But I thought it was more common than it is.
But your lecturer seems to have come across it.
Yeah.
I saw a documentary a couple of months ago about people, it sounds similar, who can't imagine things or can't envisage things.
Yeah. I can think backwards, but there's no language there. I can see a picture. But it sounds odd to me that people seek this. Like you say, seekers want peace or want this calm. You say you're lucky, but I feel like I want to experience the other side. So maybe that's what I'm here seeking. Because I think that's what I'm trying to awaken to, when actually maybe I'm what you're trying to awaken to. Do you know what I mean? It's like this paradox of I'm constantly looking for this thing that is normality, but maybe what is...
Isn't that odd?
It's really odd. We were speaking about it in the break, I was like, trying to just think in my head, I just said it, didn't I? I was trying to think, like, yeah, I don't understand how you do that. I think it's really special.
No, you don't want it.
I think I
Except, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say you don't want it. It can be annoying. And in that where everything happens, I suppose you would want it.
I think it makes things more real, or does it make it more
I think if you find that, you could then have a great deal of fun spending a huge amount of time, energy and money trying to get rid of it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with you don't want it.
What's your emotional experience like? Do you have any intense?
Yeah, because I've got to get it out because I can't think about it.
So like what? Could you describe that then? So what are the most emotions? You know, what's your kind of?
So I think it would be fair to say it's quite rare I'm in a state of just quietness. I'm normally either quite excited, quite down, quite, like say if I see a squirrel, I'll cry. Like I'm quite overwhelmed by life. Maybe I'll say maybe I'm autistic. There's probably something there that someone would diagnose, but it's like everything's quite overwhelming in a beautiful way. Because I can't really process it in my head, so I just touch it, see it, feel it, smile, or cry. I guess like a child would.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah. And be careful about letting someone pathologise that as well. When you said autistic, be careful about that, because maybe you're just quite rare. That's what it sounds like.
So that's what I mean. Someone would, if I wanted to, I'd probably be told I was on the spectrum. Some people aren't on according to what it is. But yeah, it just, the more you mentioned it, I started thinking, but not thinking. Like, am I seeking the wrong thing then? I think I'm seeking to be what everyone else is, and you're seeking to not have that, it seems. Is that really the voice in your head then? Or not really?
It's taken to be the centre of your identity. You know, I mean, it is until you wake up and then you realise it's just happening.
And then it's gone, really.
It can be gone completely. For me, it's gone completely. Now I get thoughts sometimes and sometimes not.
Right.
But, yeah, to be completely free of it is, yeah, I mean, that would be seen as a deep awakening. If you're going by, Steve Taylor wrote a book about this, something, I don't know, The Leap, where he did, there's analysis, I think from his PhD or something, there's some research he did anyway, on different kinds of awakening, but that would be seen as very deep. The less thought you have, he would regard it as deep. So
It's quite, cause sometimes I'll just be looking at something and like you or someone will say, what are you thinking? And I'll say, just looking at the chair, or just be, or I can't imagine it.
but what about anger, sadness, stuff like that?
That's a whole body emotion for me.
Whole body emotion?
Yeah,
Right,
like if
right.
I'm angry, it's sweaty and like, yeah.
And does it stay long? How long would that?
It depends what's around, I suppose, what's triggered it.
Any overwhelming emotions, like where it's
I'm
really,
always overwhelmed.
but is it really painful, like really painful?
Not so much anymore.
Okay.
It used to be, yeah, but since I've been like working on myself, that's starting to go a little bit.
Oh, so there might have been a bit of trauma or
Yeah,
something there.
sure.
Okay, because you could have emotional flashbacks that don't have mental content anyway, so maybe something like
If
that.
I talk about something in the past, I'll get an overwhelming emotion.
Okay, so that, yeah, okay, so you have stuff from
So
that.
that's still there. But
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just odd, I think. I mean, my dreams are underwater too, so that probably means something.
What do you mean your dreams are underwater?
My dreams are underwater, always. Always have been.
Like what?
Like I'm in an underwater world. It's the same as here, but we're underwater.
Really?
Yeah.
And what? Who are you in the dreams then?
I've never seen myself. I don't know. Can you see yourself in a dream? I've never seen myself.
Really?
But I'll see friends and family members,
Okay.
but then there'll be fish instead of animals. And
Gosh, and there was a
Yeah.
guy.
so
Nice to be you.
Yeah.
There's a guy who was interviewing people about their dreams after awakening. You'd be an interesting one. He should have interviewed you because that's really interesting. Like underwater.
Yeah.
I fly a lot in my dreams, and I sort of think like, well, that's not natural. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because we're, underwater. I mean, what's that about? Like,
Yeah. Flying, yeah.
um,
I've heard about people flying a lot in their dreams. That means something apparently, doesn't it?
avoiding life, but that's a. I don't think it counts. Like, yeah. Anyway, from an analytical point of view, but if it's underwater and you can breathe,
I don't really notice I'm underwater. It's just I'm underwater.
Yeah,
I'm just
right,
there's
okay.
water everywhere. Yeah.
and it's underwater world, can you see?
It's the same as here, but there's just like fish sometimes. Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Put me at home if I was anywhere else, wouldn't it?
That's really interesting.
Fish. But I don't notice any of these things are different until I voice them. I think it's only probably in the last 2 years when I say things and like Bob or someone will say to me, yeah, that's different.
Have you ever done past life?
I was thinking that. I was thinking I would love to throw in at this point something about some kind of merging of past lives, but then I sort of think, maybe this isn't the place or
Yeah.
time to do that. But yeah, I was just thinking that.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
But what is it with reincarnation? There is no such thing, obviously. We're saying that now, but that's another story, isn't
Well, in
it? Reincarnation.
it's no different than. I mean, why would it be any more?
Different than this one.
Yeah, because it's just experience continues. Maybe a different form appearing, and as different life. We all have a life, so just another life. And
And again, we're going into what is kind of in a way clearly unknowable. I think that's another thing that doesn't necessarily have to happen, but can happen, when this, whatever the hell that means, when this is seen, is that there's a kind of recognition of what's unknowable. And with that, the mind may let go, the mind that doesn't exist, let's remember, may let go of its fascination or obsession or addiction with certain things, because okay, that is unknowable.
except to the one who's experienced it, because if someone experiences an NDE, they tend to come back and go, it's real and there's no doubt about it. So for me there would be doubt about it. For me there's an interest in that, but for me it's unknowable, but that's not how other people would describe that. And all of them, I mean it's almost 100%. I mean I think that they come back and say it's real, if not more real. So, you know, which is interesting.
On the subject of knowing, I found that a big part of what shifted in that awakening experience for me was a sudden realization of 99.9999999% of that which I previously thought I knew was questionable, to say the least.
Exactly.
To say the least. You know, because in that experience, I experienced something which was inherently or intrinsically authentic and true in a way that brought question to the authenticity of everything else that had previously existed in my mind. It was like, aha, this is true, this I know for sure, this is the only thing I've ever really known, and actually all the things that I would have died for, you know, my beliefs previously, and I see that I don't know that.
I don't know anymore.
You know, most of it it's second-hand information that I've inherited, and you know, but really, truly, when I look at, okay, what do I really know? It boils down to almost nothing, because all I really know is actually that which has passed through my first-hand experience, and that is still subject to the prism of self, right, and my biases, and you know, so yeah, it was like when suddenly experiencing something authentic, that everything else was I see. I don't know anything at all, and actually now I'm the smartest I've ever been, because that's the truth. I know nothing apart from love. Love was the one bit of solid ground, and it continues to be. You know, that singularity of it's that's the only solid ground there is that love is me, and love was, you know. And I see that, you know, even there, that word doesn't quite hold up to the weight that I'm putting on it as well. But you know, that's language, and we, you know. But so when it totally changed knowledge and knowing.
Yeah.
And I watched that happen from that point on as well, because I just saw that, like the data banks of my mind, I could literally feel things just being tossed out. You know, someone was in there and he's like opening up the drawers and going, yeah, that's crap, that's crap, that's crap, and then it just ended up with this just big empty room, and it was like, oh well, peaceful.
I think that's the true liberation, freedom. Yeah, totally.
What a strange non-duality talk.
But I mean, others have also described this as, you know, a kind of free fall into a great unknowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love
It's
it.
about, I mean, I was
Beautiful.
a seeker for a long time, because always, I mean, without ever formulating it in words or ideas, you know, was, you know, in here, like there is some great secret that eventually, hopefully, I will learn, and other people have learned, and of course, you know, there isn't any. You know, the secret is not a secret knowledge, it's just discovering that almost everything's unknown. You know, this is known in some kind of way, sort of way, don't push me too far on how, everything else is unknown. Yeah.
And in doing that, kind of, the knowing itself is revealed, right? And, you know, a bit like, you know, uncovering the pyramids or something, you know, that it was there all along, and I didn't do it, You know, that's the thing. Knowledge is there. I've accrued it, and you know, I've learnt that, and I've learnt that, and it always has the kind of I attached to it. And actually, as that falls away, you see that everything that I needed to know was there all along, and it predated me, or I don't remember doing it. You know, it's that seemed to be the nature of experience or oneness or something itself. But it's definitely not about I, me. I was actually in the way of knowing itself in my pursuit of knowledge, or my egotistical wanting to own that. The story of me covered up that which I've been seeking for, I guess. Actually, I had something that I wanted to say about what happened in that process as well, because one of the things that I remember about as it literally, you know, as that fell apart in such dramatic, in the moment circumstances, which is just, you know, how it happened for me. But in the midst of that, I was crying my eyes out, and letting all the toxic stuff come out of my journey, you know, opening up my soul and coming to my vulnerability. But at the same time as I was crying, I started to laugh. And I started to laugh like a fucking madman. You know, totally insane, just And I remember that what I was laughing at was the cosmic joke, right?
Oh.
Great cosmic joke. Really? Really? I had to do all of that to get back here. It was me the whole time. And that, just the absurdity of my own efforts, and just the great reveal that, you know, there was never anywhere to go and there was never anything to do, because it was me all along. That was the best bit of all, you know. That was the great plot reveal, was that, actually. And I think about you, and, you know, kind of what we were talking about kind of before we had the break, you know, where suddenly you kind of get a glimpse of, maybe I'm not broken, or maybe, you know.
I feel like I'm seeking something that doesn't need that. So the reason I come to these things is because I don't get it. I don't get what everyone's looking for. But I guess I've kind of realised in this, maybe it's a self-acceptance and just a feeling of calm. I'm not really caring. I guess to me none of this, I find it very interesting, so don't get me wrong, but none of this matters to me, because I don't matter, because I matter. I am matter, quite literally. Or am I? You know what I mean? Like, it just nothing matters, really. And I get stuck in these intertwined pain cycles of just there. And then when I come back to myself, I'm like, oh, what was that? What? None of that mattered. So I think I struggle to see what everyone is seeking, or what we're looking for. I just join along the party because that's where everyone's going, and I'm like, but I don't actually know what we're looking for. So it's embarrassing to admit, I suppose. But it's even in the 2 years I've known Bob, I think I've just constantly been looking up to him and looking up to people who have had this journey, and I guess believe in duality and believe in that there is something that we're looking for that we don't know. But then,
that's amazing.
I've just come along for the party, I think. I don't really care. In the most beautiful way, you know? I don't mind if there is or there isn't, or I am or I'm not. Because I'm making myself happy or sad, you know? I choose what's in front of me, so... Or do I not? Has someone else written my path? Either way, I'm here, so... Or I'm not here. Doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? I'm making any sense.
No, you make total sense.
Yeah, I feel like I've made an idiot of myself for the last 5 years by trying to follow trends and trying to be something when maybe I am okay.
Isn't that
Maybe this is my awakening right now.
You already are. Yeah, you already are what you're seeking, but
I'm
in a
not
very
been
profound. Yeah.
letting myself be
I
that.
mean, sometimes what's said is, we're all born awake and then we go to sleep, but maybe here,
Yeah.
you're born awake and you didn't go to sleep, which does happen. I think it's fairly rare, but it does happen.
But then maybe I wasn't even born and then I'm a figure of someone's imagination and then it doesn't matter anyway. No, do you know what I mean? Trauma is the thing that I think makes me follow trends, because I feel like when people have an awakening they say there's this stillness and I'm like, okay, that's what I want, but then if I just don't think about it, it didn't happen. So is that stupid to do, or is that also growth? It just feels like everything is, nothing matters. I'm good right now. I could hysterically laugh or hysterically cry if I wanted to right now. Surely that's good.
That's good.
Maybe this is my awakening. I think I'm in the middle of something here. I'll
Yeah.
have a thought soon, maybe.
What's your intuition like? You know, if your linguistic brain is just shut down on the left hemisphere. I mean, because the right brain is all the emotion and the intuition.
Yeah.
So, are you really tuned into that then, or?
I would say now, yeah. That's why I used a lot of drugs and alcohol to numb it down.
Okay. Is it like? Does it get to a point? Is it kind of be quite psychic-y, or yeah? I would have thought so. I would
I
have thought
see a
so.
lot of things that I don't know if are real or not, which is why I believe that we're not real or we are. This is why I question everything,
Yeah.
because when people pass, I still see them.
I would have thought you've got to be so tuned in.
All crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
the
you're
real
not
or
crazy.
no, seriously, you've got to think of both sides, because it might be that there's trauma and that's what it is, and I want to still see this, or who knows? I question absolutely everything, because it could be a beautiful thing, but it could also be not real, and I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I know, but it's just yeah. It's interesting. Okay. So you're tuned in almost to other dimension as well, in a sense, whether that's ultimately real or not. Then it's like
It's just like it's like a dream. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like a dream world. But then I don't know what's real and what's not anyway.
yeah,
I'm not sure I
sure.
find these folks so interesting. Well, I should do more of this. Because it's kind of how I think you always need both sides of the story, right? So this is talking about things being real, not real and real, whereas the rest of the world kind of says this is how it is, this is a plan, this is, you know, whereas I always question that. And if I see it go back to a squirrel, but if I see a squirrel, I don't know if it's real or not. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'll touch it and it's not actually there. So, am I glitch? Like, is there something wrong, or is it everyone like this and it's just not in tune?
Yeah, you're so on your own with that. Like, you know, I could see the danger in that. You know, just having such a unique experience.
It's
That there's no one to mirror back to you how you're functioning. Not many, you know.
You'd be surprised though when you, especially when not using anything that suppresses yourself. Obviously, people around you seem to know. Like, I don't know. I seem to attract. Like, a time before I started using, I would attract people who had the same visions, the same whatever it is that we have. And then I suppressed it for a while, and now it seems to be happening again. So I think you know if someone else is. Like, if I'm walking in a park and I see this squirrel that isn't really there, I'll see the other people that are looking at the squirrel. And it's more than you'd think it would be. People will look at it too. And it's not there. Not there. Who knows? It's not physical. I can't pick it up. Yeah. So it's more common than you think, I think.
Have you had difficulties like growing up and stuff then, or not?
Yeah.
Or,
That was different, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I tried to change myself. I guess that's what I was seeking, to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
So I suppressed it. I think I was just maybe that's what it is. I was just aware that I was suppressing it, whereas most people maybe aren't aware they're suppressing it because it's learned behaviour. You know what I mean? Like they're taught to suppress this magic rather than. I just kind of figured out, oh man, I'm weird. I need to suppress it. Maybe that's it.
Were you good at certain things that nobody else was good at? Like in, I don't know, English or math?
I wasn't very studious. Anything physical I liked, but anything reading and looking at books and writing I hated. I didn't have to do homework for the entirety of my school life because I refused to do anything. If you've done it in class, you've got to take it home. Why am I doing something that's happened already?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just think the kids who've had MDEs and stuff, they tend to be very, very bright. And you know,
No, I was not.
oh, okay. But in terms of actually math though, they tend to be really good at math and music. Right, okay.
I failed maths.
Right, okay. Well, it's different. MDE's different, but it's just that sort of. They say things to the teachers and they just aren't understood, and they tend to be very isolated and all that kind of stuff.
I'm a bit embarrassed now.
Oh no, too much attention on you. Like, okay, let's home in and something else.
You just coming up.
Yeah, no, definitely experiencing something. Maybe this is what I've been waiting for. Acknowledgement that it's okay to be.
Yeah. If I were you, right, or really learn to articulate it, like really, so that you can really.
That's what I'm not good at. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or speak then, or record yourself or something. Find a way of kind of.
It's a self-love thing, isn't it? Once you found that, I guess that's the awakening I've been looking for. The self-love, I think, to be able to acknowledge it rather than thinking it's weird.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
But now that I know that's what you're all looking for, maybe I'll feel better.
Yeah.
Of course, if you don't want to write or talk about it, don't.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's just another thing to do that you don't want to do. Yeah. God, we all need that. We all need some acknowledgement. Everybody who wakes up looks for it, don't they? I mean, there's some sort of. I mean, we all seek validation by all sorts of things, so we don't always get it, but a lot of us don't. Wow. 10 minutes left. It's going to be quick. How are you doing?
I'm alright, thank you.
Alright.
I'm good. Well, no, you want to check out a bloke called Gerald Hewitt because he's the same.
Okay.
As if non-duality speaks a certain narrative. The same experience, and this guy, Gerald Hewitt, says things that aren't there that really are there. Multi-dimensions and different Palladians and multi-dimensional stuff. That we're all, it comes from a different place where we're all everything. And we haven't met ourselves. We were one and we split. And we split and we split. That's where they come from. And we are trying to get back together, but we're scared or we think we're broken, and so we never come back together, so we stay in the trauma.
I love that. That's it. That's what I was saying before about us all being one. That's how I feel.
Yeah, there is that. That's definitely going on in the world. 100% definitely going on. Because I've heard other people talk about it, and Advaita just kills everything. Kill's probably the wrong word, but kill fits me. Be nice to die soon, you know. That's all I'm waiting for, just waiting for death, but death of the what? I'm not saying death of the body, because I'm depressed. I'm not suicidal, but depressed one. Death of the thing. Because I can't even follow you. You asked a question, and I couldn't even follow your answer, because I couldn't work out if you were talking about the human sitting there, I'm going to have to say it this way, or you're talking about the experience of the human sitting there. I got lost after about the third word.
Okay.
Because I couldn't understand what you were on about. So I'm guessing, well, I have to assume that you're talking about, it's just nothing happening. And nothing happening could be a human sitting in a room, or a human seeing a squirrel that other humans don't see.
Whatever's happening.
Whatever's happening.
That is
So it doesn't
happening.
kill it. So it doesn't kill it. Yeah. Well, maybe feel better now.
There's whatever's
Happening.
happening.
Yeah.
That's happening. There's a squirrel happening.
Yeah.
Is it a real squirrel? It's an unreal squirrel.
Yeah.
In what sense? Whatever's just
Don't you?
phenomena. Just phenomena. That is literally all there is.
Yeah, and like, there's nothing else. So there's only thoughts of outside. Outside probably doesn't exist. Then I'll go off on one.
Yeah, because not you go off on one. Virtually all minds go off on one, because the mind can't resist that.
Yeah.
Oh, there must be a story here.
Yeah.
Let me get into that story.
Yeah.
You, me, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. There's still.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a lot easier when you know that don't matter.
Still just this. And in this, maybe there's a thought stream or a story. Oh, does my house exist or not?
Yeah.
Is there a train station up the road or not?
Mm.
So that's also this thought.
Cool. Yeah.
I know what you mean about Advaita killing everything, because by reducing everything to oneness, that also dissolves any questions.
So true.
It's not even that, is it? It's not even oneness. It's
I
nothing.
mean, why do we think this pisses off so many people? You know,
Yeah.
because it really does.
Oh, does it?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
God, it's a really
Say like-
fast way to start a fight or an argument with so many. And it's like, in a way, the more immersed or addicted I might be to a specific story about how things are, the more likely I am to be pissed off by this.
Okay.
Because it's such a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you not exist? How can you not exist, right?
Well, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
That's
big one.
me.
I mean, there are certain real blue touch papers, like the blue touch paper in Retire Immediately. Yeah, you or I don't exist. Free will, there's another one.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah,
start the
sure,
fight pretty damn quickly. You know, and then if I've got a particular belief system, like I can only be saved by the blood of the Lamb, and you challenge me with this, you know, you better watch out if I've got a bottle in my hand or a crucifix. I mean, this is incendiary stuff, really, to the mind. It really is. And yet, there's some kind of mystery, which really is a complete mystery, that for some minds, there might be some minds that don't exist, of course, you know, there might be resistance to this, and then suddenly, no understanding whatsoever, but just total fascination. I mean, that's what happened here. You know, I came across, you know, I've been a kind of conventional spiritual seeker, lots of gurus, meditation practices, all of that sort of thing, lots and lots of kind of transpersonal things, you know, wonderful stuff, great stuff. You know, came across this, this bollocks. You know, there is absolutely nothing here for me. God, this is dull and da-da-da-da. And then 2-3 years later, came across it, exactly the same thing. We just sort of opened up a kind of hunger in here for this. Still absolutely no understanding of what this was about, or why that hunger suddenly opened up. It's total mystery. Total mystery. except that it's written in the book of my karma. Okay, so now we have another story. No, it can't be a complete mystery. There must be a way of understanding this. It's your past life but 3 that off we go again. No, it's a complete mystery.
I'm trying to discreetly look at the clock.
Yeah, it's like a book.
I've got 10 seconds
Door.
over. I've got overtime now.
If you want to press the red button, James.